Hello everyone and welcome to the Context Needed podcast. My name's Kyle. We are joined with Shooty McShooty, printer in the background. Not Ryan.
It's printing reality. Yeah, but not Ryan. If that doesn't give it away.
It's Ollie. It's Ollie, everyone. Okay.
It's me. I'm creating matter.
And as you can see, the trash man has had to return to his place of rest, which is a trash can in London. It's saying his name is Ollie. It's not. It is Ryan, the trash man, but he is not with us today. And because of that, our layouts are a bit scuffed because of the way we run these. So that person to my right, who's your left if you're watching this, is not Ryan, it's Ollie, I swear.
Yeah. We just couldn't be bothered to fix it, so you guys.
It was a pain in the ass to fix.
Pretty much.
But anyway, how you been? You been good?
Not too bad. I've been mostly just chilling at home, really, playing a lot of Elite Dangerous.
Ah, yes. That game I'm not playing for the rest of the night because I'll yeet my fucking controller out the window.
Yep.
Literally, I'll explain. Just before we started fucking doing this podcast, I went to a random Crash Anaconda that people say you can get some good materials for engineering. The first piece of engineering material I found decided to yeet itself at the floor and destroy itself. So that was fun.
Nice.
And then I tried to drive around to pick up some gold that was lying around in a canister, and my wheel of my vehicle is now stuck in the ground. So when I log in, I am stuck in the ground in Elite Dangerous on a random planet.
Great.
So it's going to be tomorrow now because I'm at the point of I'm not fucking touching this game tonight again. Tomorrow I'm probably going to have to ask Ryan or Ollie, guys, can you just
something out?
Give me a nudge in the ship or something? I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll find a way to free you.
Yeah, so
Be interesting.
We wanted to actually talk about something different today. We want to talk about guns. I know we talked about guns previously, but obviously there is one person here who actually has a license to own them.
I am guns. I am a has guns.
You are Ollie Gunsman, is that correct?
Ollie Guns McCoy, yeah. That's what they call me.
License to gun.
License to gun.
It's what Becky just put in the chat. I know we don't usually bring up the chat, but she just licensed to gun.
Yes, license to gun.
It's kind of like Voltron. You don't actually own a gun, you just transform into a gun.
Yeah, I have a license to gun. You know, the verb of gun.
Well, we wanted to, because I'm interested anyway, because I've never actually properly looked into it myself, so I thought it'd be cool to actually walk through the process in the UK, especially for any like American listeners out there or European listeners where the laws are completely different. Obviously we have, let's face it, very stringent and I think for a lot of people that are into guns, very overbearing gun laws in this country.
Yes and no. It's a... You could talk about it for days. There's some things I think about our firearms laws that are really good, and some things that are just retarded, basically. And you can't win with trying to change it either, because if you try and change anything, people just think you want to have mass shootings or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, I do like, because it's so stringent. Obviously, gun crime is nowhere near as bad as in more readily available areas for guns.
Yeah.
But there are things that obviously, I mean, you've shared them before on Facebook as well, where it's like, oh, they're trying to make this particular thing about firearms illegal, and it's like, well, why? Nothing illegal has happened with that form of firearm, so why are you doing this?
Basically, yeah, there's just been quite a few cases where they've just gone, yeah, we just don't like this gun, so we're just going to ban it. Like, no one's committed any crime with it. There's no reason why it's more dangerous than anything else. There's literally no basis to ban it. We're just going to ban it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if you say no, oh, well, you're not complying, so say goodbye to your license. It's, you know, we're kind of held... They've kind of... They almost hold you to ransom. It's like, well, if you disagree with this, we'll just take your license. And it's like, well, that's not really fair.
Yeah, wasn't you saying as well, like, they were taking these guns from people which could be upwards of like 2 grand, and like giving them
Oh yeah,
pennies basically.
they yeah, some of these guns they set a set price for compensation.
Yeah.
So like depending on what attachments were on it, you know, depending on the attachment, they would give you X amount for a scope or a grip or whatever. Like for example, they were offering £150 compensation for a scope. It's like,
Oh
wow,
my.
that could buy a low end air rifle scope. Great,
That
thanks.
that doesn't even cover like what, a fifth of some very nice, like, not
uh,
even like top
oh
of the
god,
line scopes, like just a
not
nice one.
even. I mean that's not even a fraction of what I paid for the scope on my 308. But then I suppose you could argue you don't have to hand in the scope because the scope's not a controlled item, so you could just keep your scope and
Yeah,
sell
just
it
take it
on. So
off.
and people did exploit that by buying really cheap shitty scopes and chucking them on the guns to get extra money.
Well, I mean,
So
if the government's gonna fuck them over, they might as well. I mean, at the end of the
you
day,
play the system, yeah.
yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. At the end of the day, that's kind of
Basically,
rule.
yeah. So people basically played that to their advantage, but the whole idea with the ban was just stupid, really, and it's
Yeah.
I
Now,
feel really sorry for the people that had to give their guns away for it.
yeah. Now I know we don't, like we said, we don't usually deal with like audience interaction, but I know you can't read the chat.
No,
But
if
we do
anyone wants to
actually.
ask questions, you
We
can
do.
go
To
ahead
be
and relay
fair,
it to me.
this is probably a good one for questions. And to be fair,
No,
Thomas has actually put up a question that I was interested in, because I think I've asked you before, but I can't remember the answer. It was like, obviously
sure.
you have to own a gun safe, don't you? So
I do, yeah.
yeah. So how big are these like gun safes you have to have though now? Like, is there a
Um,
specific, like, I'm guessing there's specific security they need to have on them or anything like that?
yes and no. I mean, it's down to the firearms officer's discretion of what they deem to be a suitable safe.
Is the firearms officer
Um,
like something set for your like location, or are they
yes,
regional, or
I'll refer to a firearms officer from here on as an FEO because that's what they call them. They call them FEOs.
okay?
I think it's like firearms enforcement officer or something like that. And FEOs are actually civilians. They're not actually they're not like constables or full-time police officers. Like they are specifically civilian, like liaison officers, basically.
Yeah,
So yeah, you've got to have a safe. It can be as big or small as you want because it depends on what you want. I've got a 6-gun safe. But let's say you wanted just one gun for whatever reason, you could just have a 1-gun safe, and it would only be, this wide and probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 foot tall, maybe. Like you don't
yeah.
need a huge safe. It has to be hidden away, like it can't just be in plain sight in your house.
So it can't be like you see in America, how you've got like a gun room with just a gun safe kind of thing.
You can do that. You are allowed a gun room in the UK, and in order to have a gun room, I think there's either got to be no windows, or if you do have windows, they've got to be like barred and security rigged, and you've got to
Yeah,
have a very heavy duty door on the room as well. But you can have gun rooms. That's how gun
yeah,
shops work. For example, like at the range, we have a gun shop, and there's all guns on the wall. Well, we're not going to put the guns up and down every morning, so the entire shop is actually one big gun room. So the
and it just
door
has
is
to be like a
secure.
very secure building, basically.
It's exactly, yeah. So that's how that works. But in terms of the safe's got to be secured. So it's either got to be bolted to the wall or bolted to the floor or something like that. So mine is actually, I had to drill like 200 mil into the wall, and I've basically like chemically bonded some threaded bar into the wall, and then the safe goes and bolts onto that on the inside. You've also got to store your ammunition separate to your guns.
Yeah,
So I have an
I knew
separate
that one.
ammunition
Yeah,
safe. But what you can do, and this is more doable again if you only wanted 1 or 2 guns, the safes do have an independent locking compartment inside sometimes where you can store your ammunition. So, like,
yeah.
if you want to, let's say you only had like a 2-2 and a something else, and you weren't interested in carrying loads of ammo, well, you could just get a 2-gun safe with an integral ammo compartment, as
And
long
just
as that's
stick it
locking
in
and
there, kind of
independent.
thing.
And yeah, you could do that, but obviously if you want more than a few guns and you want a decent amount of ammo, you're going to want an ammo safe.
Yeah. Because there's not limitations on how much ammo you can buy or things like that. Because I remember hearing from someone that you had to basically be marked down how much ammo you're buying, kind of thing.
You do, yes. I can actually show you. Funny enough, I've actually got my license here. I'll have to strategically cover this up so you don't see any of my identifiers.
If there's any identifier on there, I wouldn't want you to show it. So
what
I would do is I just
for where I bought ammo.
Yeah, I just like move it back so it's not really readable, kind of thing. I wouldn't want you to give away anything that you're not meant to.
If I cover my certificate number there, you can't see anything else particularly important. But this page, you can see these things written on are actually. This is every time I bought a gun. Sorry, where's my ammunition?
Whoa, that's a long list. Let me just move that away.
I'm just trying to find the ammunition one. It's on one of these pages. Okay, there's the ammunition one. So it's very, very small writing because you want to be able to fit a lot on there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 8 rows condensed just there.
Yeah.
So all it's got down is how many rounds have I bought? What caliber is it? Where did I buy it from? So it's just the ID of the firearms dealer and my certification. And that's it, basically. But there is a limit to how much ammunition I can own. And that's entirely down to the discretion of the firearms officer and the firearms licensing unit. So you've got to justify.
I'm guessing the FEO at some point could just go, you're holding too much. Can you bring the numbers down? Is that something they're able to
and
do?
Likewise, you can contact your FEO and say, I want to be able to carry a bit more. Can we adjust my license so I can carry a bit more? For example, I'm only here. I've actually, funnily enough, I've got some prints right in front of me. So this is a dummy 2.2 round, little baby thing. So you would think that you'd probably be allowed more little rounds than the big scary ones, right?
Yeah.
So I am only allowed 500 of these, but I'm allowed 600 of these. There's no logic to it. And the annoying thing is with 2.2, this stuff's cheap. You can buy a box of 500 for about 35 to 40 quid.
That's
cheap.
Dirt cheap.
Whereas this is a dummy 303 round. You're looking at almost £1 per round for one of these.
Is the 303 for the Lee Enfield?
Yes. So these are actually dummies that I had printed elsewhere. These little black ones, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up, but these are FDM printed. So these are layers. They're actually it's kind of scratchy, whereas this is printed using something called SLS, or selective laser sintering, which is like a stupidly strong and outrageously accurate form of 3D printing, but these are really nice.
Yeah.
So I'll hopefully be selling these at some point. But going back to the ammo, I'm permitted for 500 2.2, and for some reason 600 of all my big centerfire calibers. But for example, I can only buy a box of 500. So at the moment, I have to shoot every single round of 2.2 that I own off before I can buy a box again.
Oh, so you can't even order another box until they've all gone.
Well, I'm allowed 500. So let's say I bought 500 and I've shot 250. I could buy a little box of 50 or up to my limit. But you want to buy 2.2 in boxes of 500 just because it's the most cost-effective way to do it.
It's the most efficient way to do it, yeah.
If you buy it in the little 50 boxes individually, it adds up and it costs you more than you really want. And ideally, you want to actually buy 2.2 by the 1,000, and you usually put down 1,000 on your first application.
Yeah.
And that's what I asked for, and they knocked me down. But I'm going to put in a variation on my license soon and ask for at least 1,000 because I just want to be able to buy it in bulk.
Yeah, it just makes it so much cheaper.
I can literally just say, well, I want to be able to buy it in bulk so I can buy it cheaper, and that should be a valid reason. So yeah.
With the safe, because there's a few other things. So obviously you've chemically bonded it.
Yes.
If you move, will you keep the safe with your parents' house, or would you have to look at moving that?
I can keep it here. I think the keys can't be here. The keys have to stay with me, and only I am allowed to know where my keys are. No one in this house knows where my keys are. I mean, luckily my safe is a keypad one as well, so I can literally just it's just keypad. But nobody in this house knows where like the keys to my safe are. They're legally not allowed to. So Danny doesn't know where my keys are. My parents don't know where the keys are. Only I know where the keys are.
Yeah, so it's not like you can't just go, oh, Dad, just the key's there. Just get me this gun out and bring it out to me. You have to go in and grab it yourself.
Yeah, by law I couldn't. But if I wanted to bring the guns with me, let's say my parents were going to move out of the house and I'm moving out, so the guns are going to go somewhere. What I could do is take the guns to a firearms dealer and they can store the guns for me.
So, like, the range you go to, basically, you could go store them there until...
I could just take them all to the range and just store them there until I've got something in place elsewhere, and then I can just put them there, basically.
Yeah. No, fair. There's a few more questions, actually, by Thomas here. So, like, how much did the gun safe actually cost, if you're all right saying? Like, how much did the gun safe, getting it all fit in, and then the ammo safe as well?
Fitted it myself. I'm happy to say I'm just going to dig up the invoice from when I bought it.
I keep hitting this PC that I've put down here to start mining, and I keep knocking it into the desk because I'm not used to having something there.
So my six gun rifle cabinet was 215. And my large ammo safe was £62. And I fitted them both myself.
I mean, I think that's such a skewed number from what I'm used to hearing. I think mainly because I'm used to watching like Americans on YouTube with massive gun safes. Oh, this is a $5,000 gun safe. No one can enter this. It's nuclear resistant kind of scenario.
Well, like, all joking aside, the gun safes aren't that strong. Like, realistically, if you had an angle grinder, you could get into a lot of UK spec gun safes in about 5 to 10 minutes, but they're not there. They're a deterrent and to slow a thief down.
Well, at the end of the day, it's the way security works, and I've said this to so many people. Like, security isn't about making your stuff impervious; it's about making your stuff look too much of an effort compared to the stuff next to it. Yeah,
basically. So, I mean, it could be more secure, and some of the ones the Americans have are certainly that way. And I think in future, I would like to get a better one.
Yeah.
But it's only it's a 6 gun, and realistically, I don't think you could even get 6 guns in it. Or, well, you could, but not comfortably. You could probably get like 6 shotguns in it. Yeah. But like with my Seiko with a massive scope on it and stuff, that's easily taken up 3 guns worth of space.
Yeah. Nah, fair enough. So it was So yeah. Yeah, so Thomas was also asking, I'm guessing that's what do you use the small ammo for, so like the 2.2, I'm guessing that's what it says.
As per my license, I mean, technically you can use it for a lot of things. That small 2.2 ammo, it's quite common as in a discipline called gallery shooting, or like miniature rifle, and that's actually quite an old discipline of shooting in the UK, where it used to be in pubs, believe it or not. You used to be able to go shoot these rounds in pubs.
Why is this not allowed anymore? Government, why?
But there is still an exemption. Legally speaking, in the UK right now, you do not need a firearms license to buy one of these. I mean, this is obviously a dummy. It's a solid piece of plastic.
So I could go buy a real 2.2 round and there'd be no kind of...
You would have trouble because a lot of firearms dealers don't like doing it.
Understandable, because it's it's probably a faux pas, but it's like, I couldn't be like arrested for it kind of thing.
No, legally speaking, you are well within your rights to buy, you know, this ammunition and a rifle for it under the gallery rifle exemption, but that's probably going to get shut down soon because there's already been a few dodgy happenings using that, so they're clamping down on it.
It wouldn't surprise me if that gets shut down very quick, because like you said, when there's exemptions like that, let's face it, they usually like to try and shut those kinds of things down.
Absolutely, yeah. But no, so the 2.2 is it's often referred to as a gallery rifle round. I use it for target shooting, but it's actually quite a good pest control round as well. So if you were shooting, say, rabbits, magpies, birds, pigeons, squirrels...
Would it be okay for foxes as well? Because I know you get a lot of foxes that way.
A little underpowered for fox. A little too small for fox, yeah. Probably a bit too underpowered. I do have a dummy of a round that would be suitable for fox somewhere here, but I can't remember my box.
So I think that's, especially when you're talking to like guns and stuff, or hunting always comes into the questions with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, hunting
I remember, obviously, we played a bit of, what was it, Call of the Wild, that Hunter. And I really like the way that game showed actually how hunting is done. Like, a load of people seem to think it's just, big fuck off gun, blow the brains out kind of thing, but it's not. A lot of it is really just, I need to use a very specific round to get a very specific shot to make sure it's done pinpoint precision kind of thing.
It depends what you're shooting and what you're shooting it with. There's a lot of nuance to it. Like, for example, if you're using an air rifle to shoot a rabbit, you need to be able to hit within like a 20 pence piece of where you're aiming, and it's a very specific spot. Like, for example, with pest control, legally speaking, there's no such thing as overkill when it comes to pest control. Like, whilst it would be stupid, I could...
You pull out your 308 on a fucking rabbit.
Yeah, I could. Legally speaking, if I was cleared for pest control on that land and I was allowed to hunt with my 308, because my 308, the condition on my license is only target shooting.
Yeah.
But if I had it for hunting, I could legally shoot a rabbit with a 308. There would be nothing left of the rabbit.
Yeah, it'd be red mist.
it would be like shooting a person with artillery. Literally, it would just be a cloud. But legally speaking, you can. But again, it doesn't really matter where you aim if you're using a round as big as that. You just aim in the middle and you're
so much energy in it.
Whereas with a 2.2, you kind of want to aim for like the head. Whereas you could probably use something like what you call a 1.7 HMR, which is just a smaller round but really fast. So you could actually aim less with that because
it's the energy that goes into it, isn't it?
Exactly. It's so fast. You're looking at 2,500 feet per second, but something so small. When you hit the animal, you'll get something called hydrostatic shock, which will basically just destroy their nervous system, basically, and it will just outright kill them.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. I know there's loads of people out there that obviously hate the idea of like hunting, and at the end of the day, like, pest control is a good reason in my mind for that kind of stuff.
It is, yeah.
Especially, I know where you live, is it myxomatosis? They've got that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons to hunt around here. I mean, yeah, the rabbits get myxomatosis. They also just dig up the land, which can be dangerous for livestock. Squirrels just absolutely destroy woodland. Like, they just eat the bark off the trees, and they can just kill so many trees.
Yeah,
and also
I think when it comes to hunting, especially, I think the main thing is, as long as like you were saying earlier, and like I think I've joined you with Tom to do target practice and to then look at going rabbit hunting, as long as you are making sure that you aren't putting any undue stress or like pain on those animals, and you are just, that's it. Yeah. That's how it should be. You should always, if you're going to shoot at an animal, you should be 100% confident that you can make that shot, and if there's any doubt, you do not take that fucking shot. And it needs to be as ethical and as painless for the animal as possible, because at the end of the day, it's not nice. Like, I fully understand that it's a bit of an unpleasant thing, but it's also a necessity. Like, you've got to do it around here. Yeah, especially when you're in the sticks, like where you are, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like there's obviously like trophy hunting and shit like that. That's the kind of shit which always kind of like
there's quite divisive.
The thing is, though, I've read into and looked into that where they use trophy hunting now to actually fund areas to help animals and extinct animals, and they also help the environment, because they just go, okay, you're an asshole that wants to shoot a lion. Okay, well, you can pay us 50 grand, and there's a male that can't reproduce anymore. That's just an asshole to all the other lions. You can go shoot him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get hung up on hunting because they like the animal that is being shot. It's a lot of the time it's simply, I don't like that you're shooting that animal because I think that animal's cute. But they wouldn't care if you shot some weird, ugly thing. But it's like, well, their life's no more valuable than another animal. But the fact of the matter is that, well, they're pests. They need managing and sometimes to protect other species. Like, grey squirrels in the UK are an invasive species.
Oh yeah, don't they fuck over all the red squirrels?
Yeah, and as a result, we need to keep their numbers down to try and help the red squirrels, because we're trying to reintroduce them, and they are in the wild again. And it's also things like magpies and jackdaws and stuff like that. They attack a lot of birds' nests, so not only are they quite harmful to a lot of the rare songbirds, but they'll also they'll go into the nests of things like red kites, which are on the IUCN red list and are really actually in need of protection. So it's like, again, it's kind of I absolutely adore jackdaws and magpies. They're lovely birds. They're insanely intelligent.
Oh, they're ridiculously smart. Yeah, because I remember. I think you was telling me actually when years ago now when I was asking that. Oh well, how would you actually try and hunt magpies? And you were saying, well, the only way you can deal with it is get up like 4 a.m, lay outside for hours with all your windows and doors shut and wait. Because if your windows and doors are open, they won't land anywhere near your house because they know they might get shot.
Basically, yeah, like it's literally if I get a lot of jackdaws in the garden, and if I just walk past a window, they'll instantly just fly away. All the songbirds and pigeons or anything else, they won't be bothered. But a jackdaw or magpie, they are fucking gone as soon as they see you. Yeah.
Well, Becky's actually got a question, because I think I spoke to you about this previously. She's asking, can you transport all your guns together? Because I was also saying, I remember, did you have to have them in a bag to transport them as well?
Yes, I can transport them all together. Like, there's nothing saying I couldn't get every single gun in my safe and go take them all to the range in one trip, and I just slapped my mic.
Just telling that mic what for.
There's no law saying that they have to be in a bag. Obviously, you shouldn't be going around carrying a gun in the open, but around here, no one would really see me. So if I wanted to go to the range, and let's say I haven't got enough gun bags, but I really want to take a third gun, I would be fine in chucking my third gun in the boot and maybe just covering it over with some stuff. As long as it's not on show, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I know people who, like, have takedown shotguns that they'll just take in, like, a duffel bag. Like, you don't have to take it in a bag by law, but you should.
It's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't legally have to have it in a bag that's sealed and you have a key to, but it's like, you shouldn't have it on show kind of thing, because you
can't leave them unattended, though. So if I go to the range and I need to get petrol, I'll always go to a pay-at-pump petrol station, so I'm with the car. I wouldn't want to go into a petrol station while I'm leaving guns and ammo in the car.
If you couldn't nip into the shops on the way home, you'd literally have to be with them at all times, which is understandable with it being a licensed thing. Like, I shouldn't be allowed to get to your guns without you being there, basically.
Someone could easily have followed me from the range and just be waiting for me to pull over. You know, so it's like you can't leave the car alone. That's just how it is.
Yeah, with actually regards to that, because obviously you're I mean, the new job. Am I all right to say about it here? Because I know you've not said anything about it.
No.
So obviously
fine.
you're looking to go work at the range.
I'll be starting in about a week or so.
That's cool. Because I know, obviously, it said it's basically like a gun room. It's a secure building. Do they actually get people trying to break in there for firearms? Like, is it a common thing? Is it?
I'm sure it's happened. I don't know of it happening. It's never come up, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone has tried. I mean, I know what the security arrangements of that place are like, and they're very, very good. So,
yeah. And I'm not going to ask you about them because that's a stupid thing to say.
Even if you tried, you would have a hard time. Like, because I know there's alarms, and the actual rooms themselves are extremely secure. So you probably wouldn't be able to get in there before the alarms have the police there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm guessing that there's always one thing that is good to know is, I'm guessing all the alarms are hooked up directly to the police anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wouldn't surprise me if that's actually kind of a thing they have to have by law. With it being a gun site, it would have to be a direct communication. Yeah. Because let's face it, if there was a shop breaking at Primark, no one really gives a shit. But if there's shop breaking at a gun store, the cops would want to know.
Well, not only that, the owner of the range literally lives next to the range house. So, like, they at any point they're no more than about 30 meters from the shop.
Oh, that's all right then.
So, like, they would get a phone saying, "Oh, your alarm's going off." It's like, well, I'm already here. So, like, it wouldn't go well for anyone that tried to break in, just because it would just be so very difficult, basically.
Yeah, I'm guessing it wouldn't surprise me for a lot of people that own things like gun shops or ranges like that. It wouldn't surprise me if they live on premise or next to premise anyway, because it just seems like a more...
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sense, like, especially if... Because it wouldn't even just be down to, like... oh, a lot of my money's been stolen because of the guns, of the monetary value of the guns, but it also be, well, I've probably now got to explain this to
Yeah,
so many
you'd be in
different
trouble.
people and
If,
potentially lose any licenses I've got.
well, that's it. If one of my guns got stolen, I mean, it's one thing if, I was, let's say I was coming home from the range and I was involved in a nasty accident and I was injured, and someone realised there was guns in the back of the car and took advantage of that. I probably wouldn't be held responsible for that. That would be exceptional circumstances. But
Yeah.
if I was to come back from the range and just pop into the corner shop to get a Coke on my way home, and then someone broke into my car whilst I was in the shop, I would be on the line for that, because that would be negligence on my part.
Yeah, because like you said, you're not allowed to be without them, kind of thing.
No.
How would it work actually with that? Say, like you said, you do pay at pump.
Yeah.
Say you had to do pay at pump. Say that you was doing that and someone like just knocked you out, just completely knocked you out, and then
That would be very unfortunate.
I mean, but yeah, because obviously they'd knocked you out, they take the guns you've got with you, and then fucking bolted. And you had, obviously, you've been knocked out, you didn't see them, you didn't see anything. How would that, do you have any idea how that might work? Because obviously that's kind of exceptional circumstances as well in my mind, because you was with the guns.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been leaving them unattended, and you could argue, well, they could have done the exact same thing when I got home and went to take the guns into the house.
Yeah.
So it's like, at some point, I've got to take the guns out of the car and get them back in the house. So, like, I don't think that you would get in trouble in that event either. I think that would be, again, exceptional circumstances.
Yeah, because I know I'd love the idea of getting a license. I just think, especially where I live, it'd be very, very difficult to get, because I'm smacking the city centre kind of thing.
I mean, obviously, from nothing that I've said on the podcast, no one could know where I live anyway, so that's why I'm happy to say I've got them. But, like, I would not advertise that I have guns, especially to anyone who could figure out where I live. Like, it's something that you very much want to keep to yourself for the most part. Just for security reasons. Like, I don't post anything about where I live on social media. I don't post pictures of my guns in or around the house. Like, if I post a picture of my gun, it'll either be in the house where you can't really tell where it is, or at the range, or in a very ambiguous way, basically. I would never...
but in a way where, like, you've got no landmarks, no markings kind of thing to show it, yeah. I think as well, saying, like, how you wouldn't talk about it, like, out in public, I think it's also kind of... Let's face it, there is a lot of stigma with firearms. Like, I can only imagine you, like, someone asking you if you own a gun, you say yes, and then everyone just be like, why? And, like, start giving you 21 questions.
You get a lot of unusual and kind of annoying questions if people know you have guns. And
okay, well, quick fire. Top 3 most annoying ones you have to deal with.
Well, what's stopping you from going and killing someone? That's one. Number 2, they'll ask what gun you've got, and you'll say, "Oh yeah, I've got a blah blah blah," and they'll say, "Sorry, I've got a such and such. Can you kill someone with that?" It's like, what do you think? It's a fucking gun. Like, and what's number 3? Probably just, well, why do you need it? That's the other one. Like, well, I don't. I want it.
Yeah,
I'm exercising my right to have it.
Yeah, it's like it's a hobby.
You could literally use the argument on anything that somebody enjoys. Oh, well, why do you need to play video games? Because I fucking want to. Because I like them. It's like, I've heard a lot. To be fair,
I mean, obviously, it's like, it's very, very different. Like but I had that exact same question in a similar manner when I signed up to do like charity fights. It's like, why do you want to do that?
Why do you want to do that? Because I like it.
Because I've always wanted to do a fight, and I've always wanted to train, and I'm also doing it for charity. Why would I not?
Comparing, competitive and charity fighting, and fighting as a sport to violence, it's like comparing a legal shooter to an armed robber, in the same way that comparing fighting as a sport to just like someone just assaulting somebody. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the exact same level of just, well, I'm just drawing a totally different conclusion and trying to say that they're the same thing.
Yeah, it's I think it's fucking stupid at times. I mean, with the whole fighting thing is, especially with the way it, like you say, it's a competitive sport. It is a sport, and the issue I find with it sometimes is the way some of the top level athletes in that talk to each other and treat each other and talk to the press. It sometimes comes across as just this group of violent beasts talking shit and then fighting each other, when it's really that's not what it is.
No, not at all.
And I think that's probably what some people see the gun side of. It's like, oh, you've got a gun. Well, you're obviously just a violent person who wants to shoot things, and it's like, well, no.
Exactly, yeah. Well, my default go-to thing is, well, what's stopping you from killing someone? It's like, well, when you're driving your car through a residential area and you see a family at the side of the road, well, what's stopping you from just steering and running them down?
Yeah.
It's literally exactly the same question. It's like, well, because you don't want to kill anyone. Like, that's
exactly
what's stopping me from doing it.
I
it's
think,
like...
As well, it's just like you're saying with there, it's like, well, I have a gun, but you drive a car, and a car is inherently more dangerous than a firearm.
Cars kill far more people a year than firearms do, I'll tell you that much.
Well, but for me to kill a family of 4 with a rifle, I will have to aim and shoot 4 times. For you to kill a family of 4 in your Range Rover, you don't even have to aim, just point in the general direction.
You just steer and drive, buddy, steer and drive.
You might even feel a bump.
Yeah. Differential's working beautifully. But no, it's literally it's the same question, and I've had that one, and it annoys me when people ask the whole, oh, could you kill someone with this? It's just like, well, immediately that's the wrong place to go.
Yeah.
Like, of course you can. You know the answer to that question. Why are you asking?
I think the most stupid thing about that question is you can kill someone with fucking anything.
Yeah, like, all aside, here is my general knife, and it's like, if I just show this, oh, here, Carl, I bought myself just a nice little camping knife. It's quite sharp. You wouldn't go, could you kill someone with that?
No.
What's stopping you from killing someone with that? It's like, it's just like, as soon as guns get involved, common sense goes out the window. It's
just
annoying.
How I was saying you can kill someone with anyone. Tom said, can you kill someone with candy floss? It's like, well, yes. If you shove it down their throat and block up their windpipe, then yes, you probably could.
It's got a stick. It's got a stick that could choke you. You could be stabbed with it. You know.
It's as macabre as it is. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I mean, I just look around this room now, and it's like, well, there's a pen that could be a stabbing utensil. I've got a can that can be turned into a sharp object. I've got a.
It's a horrible way to look at the world, but yeah, it's very true. Unfortunately, life is dangerous.
Oh yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, everything in this world is in a way killing us. I mean, for God's sake, our own skin can give us cancer, dependent on how we live our lives, kind of thing. We are complete, fallible, fickle beings which are finite.
You can just go outside wrong and die from skin cancer, from the sun. Like, sorry, no, you went out, but you did it the wrong way, so now you're gonna die.
It's like, yes, this omnipotent, all-being sun, which gave us life, literally the only reason we're here is because of the goddamn sun. It's gonna fucking kill you.
Now you're dead.
I could just imagine, like, the sun having one of those angry middle-aged man face. I brought you into this world, now I'm fucking taking you out.
Basically. 100%, yeah.
Going back to the guns, because Thomas did have another good question, actually, because I know you've done rabbit hunting. Did you ever do any other hunting of any other kind?
I've only really done small games, so things like rabbit, squirrel, and like corvids, like magpies, jackdaw, stuff like that. I've not done anything like deer or fox hunting. I would like to try it.
I'd honestly would love to try something like that. That would be amazing.
I likely will.
When you say fox hunting, sorry, I need to make this abundantly aware. This isn't that bullshit, pompous, toffrey fox hunting with the red coats on horses. No. None of that bullshit.
I mean lamping. I mean lamping foxes, with a rifle.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think that's another thing that people always equate it to as well. When you say hunting, they always equate it to that. And it's like...
Yeah, it's not that. I fucking hate that as much as the next person.
Yeah, I've never liked that. Mainly, I think that I've always read stories where it's just like, the way they use the dogs to just completely obliterate the foxes and stuff. It's
completely unnecessary.
Foxes can be cute as hell. They are
I love them. I think they're beautiful animals.
Beautiful animals. They're also one of the most annoying fucking sounding animals I've ever heard. And they are pests.
They really are.
And they cause massive issues with, like, when you have chickens, don't you? So it's like, you
Yeah.
gotta fucking be careful of the foxes with the chickens.
They can attack dogs as well.
Yeah, I think there was I think I've read stories about that, especially obviously you see it in the countryside where they get right aggy with dogs, don't they, at times.
Granted, it's very uncommon, but even in extreme circumstances, they could even attack a child.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think that's
common, like very unlikely, but it could happen.
Oh, 100%. Because they can be quite territorial, can't they, at times, dependent on the areas they're in.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, like, think about how a dog behaves. Well, a fox is still a dog. Granted, they're generally quite timid, and they'll 99.99% of the time will just run away from you and never be anywhere near you.
Yeah.
But like a parent, like if there's a cub nearby or something, they can get a bit territorial and defensive.
Yeah, well, it's like the same as like bears in America, isn't it? Like, I remember I was watching there was a hunting channel on YouTube, and I can't remember the name of it, but there was doing this. There was this hunt, and they were trekking to the spot they were going to basically be perched up in one of those hunting huts in the trees, kind of thing. And they were just walking around chatting loud and stuff. And the guy who was hosting was like, "You're probably wondering why we're making all this noise and not worrying about being quiet." It's like, well, this is bear country. And I prefer
want them to know you're there.
Yeah, I want the bears to know I'm here, so they'll piss off. Because if you sneak around and then walk into a bear, they'll attack you because you're near them and they're scared of you. Or if you sneak around into their home where their cubs are, you're already dead. But if we make a lot of noise, they'll usually just stay well away from you. Yeah,
they're not confrontational animals. Very scary, though. Very big.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's the average size of, like, brown bears and black bears, though?
Do you know what the funny thing is? This little baby round, one of the biggest record grizzly bears was killed with a 2-2 rimfire.
How?
A little tiny lady with this little tiny gun killed a grizzly bear in the wilds of Canada, I think. Let me find the name, because it's an amazing story.
How did that bullet even, like... Because they're meaty
because
as
it could go through the temple. The temple. Her name was Bella Twin. She took the 1953 world record grizzly bear. Let me just get some information on said bear. So the bear was... I've actually got a picture of the skull, actually, as well. It was shot with a Kui Ace, which is the most crappy, shitty-looking little gun. It was held together with duct tape as well. I'm just trying to find how big the bear was. I'm just trying to find some information on it, or maybe its weight or something like that.
Honestly shocked to actually know that a 2-2 was able to bring down a bear in that manner.
She shot it directly in the temple.
Guess obviously the temple. There's not really much there, is there, to stop it? So I can understand
very thin.
That,
it's a weak spot.
Yeah, that's insane, though. Let's face it. I mean, what is it that people, when they have to actually hunt bears? I mean, what are they using now? Like what, 338 kind of thing, or even more than that?
Oh gosh, you'd want at the very least a 308 or a 30-06. Yeah, you want a big rifle. But that's because you're going to be shooting it in the body, like.
Yeah, you're aiming for like
a hard shot.
Yeah, double lung and heart kind of scenario, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, but there's a picture of her next to the pelt, and it is fucking huge. But it has no.
It doesn't have any markers.
She's this tiny little petite woman. Where do they live? I'm just trying to find. I'm just looking up the information now. So, Canada. I think Alberta. She was 63.
Jesus Christ! Don't mess with grandma.
Basically, yeah. I really wish I could find the information on how big it was, but I'll
imagine having that in. Imagine having that in.
Put a Oh no, it'd be fucking huge, isn't it? Are you able to put overlay a picture on the stream?
If you send it me on Facebook, what I'll do is I'll just pop it in the I'll pop it in the chat so people can
Yeah, go on
go to
then.
it. But yeah, just
It's
send me the image on Facebook and I'll pop it in the chat.
well, what is?
'Cause-
I'll just post a link to the whole thing.
yeah,
Because it's an interesting read, but you can see the shitty little gun she used, the ammo she used, and the
Jesus Christ, that is a big
shit little
bear.
gun. Yeah, and look at the skull. You'll see where she's hit it right, right behind the eye on the left side. And look
Oh,
at the
wow.
gun. Look at the little ditty gun.
That gun literally is held together by duct tape.
Yeah, I wasn't joking when I said it was held together with duct tape. It literally was held together with duct tape.
A 2-2, a fucking 2-2 single shot.
Single
I
shot.
can also
bolt
tell
action,
you
yeah.
the quotes in this. I can also tell you that the rifle's condition, which has remained as it was when Bella Twin shot the bear, leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! And she
I'm just trying...
she used whiz bang rimfire cartridges.
Apparently, the bear was 9 foot tall.
Jesus Christ!
That's a big fucking bear.
Big fucking bear. Jesus, I mean, we take the piss out of me being big, but that thing is literally towering over me.
And she was under 5 foot. So, tiny lady with a tiny gun took the world record bear. I think bigger ones have been shot since, but it was the record at the time.
Yeah, I think the best bit about that is that really is that fucking meme where it's like, who would win? One big bear or one little lady?
Just,
that's honestly
impressive.
insane. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's
full props to Bella Twin for being able to do that. That's actually like ridiculously good. Got another question out. What's your favourite round? I know you've shot quite a few rounds because obviously you do get to shoot
that I've
different
shot
files.
I guess that I've shot. I do. I'm a sucker for 303 out of the Lee Enfield. I do really enjoy the 303. I've actually got some 303 ammunition from World War II. That's
also like
very
surplus
old
stuff.
Yeah, it's actually got a date on the box that says 1945 on it. And I've got some slightly later stuff that's 1955.
Is the older stuff? Does the older stuff tend to be hotter or?
No, but it doesn't use smokeless powder like modern ammunition. It uses something called cordite.
Okay.
And it has a mercury-based primer as well. So it can be a little bit corrosive to your gun's barrel if you don't clean it out properly afterwards.
I'm guessing after you've shot that stuff, then you'll give it a good clean through kind of thing.
It takes a lot more cleaning. It's a shame if Ryan was here to keep conversation going, I'd go grab the box and show you because it's very interesting stuff. But
we'll have to like post it to like your Instagram or something, and we'll make sure we plug it at the end.
Pictures of it. So, in fact, I know for a fact I'll link you that as well, just so you can drop that in the chat.
I'll pop the image of that in the chat as well because that's
it's interesting stuff, to be honest.
I was looking at I don't know if you watch, there's a guy on YouTube called Kentucky Ballistics.
I know Kentucky, yeah.
Have you seen what happened to him recently with the 50 BMG?
I've not watched the video yet, but I know what's happened, yeah.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend watching that. So for people in the chat, people listening, there's a guy on YouTube called Kentucky Ballistics. I'm not actually like, I don't watch all of his videos. When they pop up, I'll watch them, and they are great videos. But he had his Serbu 50 BMG, it's a single shot 50 BMG rifle.
Bolt action. Yeah.
It's not even a bolt action. It's literally a screw cap, isn't it? You put the round in, screw the cap on, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he had one of those, and he was firing what's called slap rounds, and they don't make them anymore. They're like they're like quite hot, like very punchy, armor piercing rounds. And basically the gun just exploded on him. And he basically had to put his thumb in his throat because it had severed the jugular. And he got his dad had to rush him to hospital, and the ambulance picked him up halfway. Luckily, he's making a great recovery.
Well, he uploaded the video, so everything's okay.
Okay, so let me just make this overlay go in. I'm just going to put it over your face.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So that
This is the ammunition.
That's the really old ammunition. God, those primers do look
Yeah.
weird.
They're you'll see they have a they're copper coloured rather than brass like you'd see on modern ammunition, but there's a
Yeah.
purple ring on them as well.
Yeah.
Which just is basically just to mark them as a.
Yeah.
I think that there is a meaning to that, and I think it's actually to do with what the bullet is, not the primer. It's basically so. Let's say back in the day they just dumped all the bullets into a bucket or something. You could tell what type it was by the colour of the primer.
Yeah, fair enough. But
So
with this
that's standard Mark 7 ball.
Yeah. So with this Kentucky dude, he got to the hospital, they did all this work on him. It was like they found out that the screw cap, basically what had happened is this slap round was way hotter than it was supposed to be, and when you look at the rifle you can see where the screw cap was. It had actually sheared the entirety of the thread
out
completely.
Jesus.
And he
I haven't watched it yet, so
well, honestly, just go watch it after this or something.
I will.
It's insane that the way this guy survived is ridiculous. It's something out of like an action movie kind of thing. But he spoke to Serbu and asked them about the tolerances of that thread, and he was saying, well, the tolerance they have to test up to is something like 55,000 psi, and they said to shear it in that way, it would have been doing upwards of 80,000 psi.
Jesus Christ!
And he had that cap come straight off, straight into his face. He had eye protection on, but it broke his orbital bone in like 3 spots and broke his nose. He had to have reconstructive surgery on it.
Jesus Christ!
And there's these 2 ears on the side. The PSI is pounds per square inch. It's a form of pressure. So usually your car tyre would be, on average, what?
30?
32 to 36, dependent on the car kind of thing. And I don't know what a pistol would be. What kind of pound per square inch would they kind of pop out?
Let's have a look. 303 chamber pressure, just to give you an idea. 303 is quite a spicy round as well, to be fair. So the maximum permitted pressure, according to SAMI specs, is 49,000 psi of a 303.
Yeah,
and
so
that's a powerful round as well.
Yeah, like and this was upwards of 80,000 this guy was dealing with. That's insane. But he had the so the way the servo works as well is you single load your round, you screw the cap on, and basically you can't actually close the action to get the hammer in place if it's not screwed on properly, because there's these ears which hold it in place, and it's like the tolerances are perfect, it won't shut without it. So obviously the cap bounced off and sheared those ears out. One of them just went off, and they found it like something. They said they think they found it like 20 feet away or something crazy like that from where he was shooting, and the other one went straight into his throat, and that's what severed his jugular, and I think it went into his lung.
Oh my god!
So he ended up with a collapsed lung when he got to the hospital or something like that as well. It's
scary shit, man.
It got to the point where I think they literally said, because obviously I think him and his dad are like they were like law enforcement or military or something. They'd worked in those kinds of areas. And with the thumb, he literally like rolled his thumb up like that in his shirt and shoved it in the hole where his dad told him to. And the doctors literally said, if you hadn't done that, you would have been dead before you reached the hospital.
Yeah, probably would have been.
Because he's trying to like raise money for like the medical funds as well, he's basically released a shirt which his wife has taken to saying, just put a thumb in it.
Jesus.
So I mean, like,
it is scary.
Yeah, if anyone's listening, honestly, go watch that video, because like I said, I'm not the biggest follower of Kentucky Ballistics, but seeing that happen to someone's incredibly insane. So I just go watch, man. It's insane. It literally is like an Action Man story kind of thing.
Yeah, it sounds it.
I'm surprised, like, you see all these crazy things happening on YouTube, especially in America, because there's so many, like,
there's so much shooting going on with cameras on it that they capture all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember FPS Russia? I'm surprised that kind of shit didn't happen to him.
I was never a fan of FPS Russia. He always did my head in, but he very, very nearly killed himself.
Multiple times.
you've probably seen the clip with the pickup where the door almost hits him.
Yes.
Well,
that I think that hit. I think there's a video where he injured the cameraman because of the explosives he was using.
There's another one that you might be thinking of where the guy filming had a GoPro on, and he loaded up an old lawnmower with tannerite, and then shot it from like 30 yards away, and a piece of debris just flew out and chopped it. It literally just sheared his leg off straight away. He lived, I think.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that's another one. I think that was only like a couple of years ago as well.
Tannerite's legal as well out there.
They use it for reactive. You can buy like reactive explosive targets.
Yeah.
Like you're not meant to use loads of it, but obviously people have a nasty habit of using way too much and then blowing things to holy shit. But yeah, it's like a legal explosive.
I mean, let's face it. If we had the ability to, we probably would. I just probably wouldn't stand that close.
No.
I mean, if I was dealing with any form of explosives, I'd say, okay, so what's the recommended distance? I'd say about 50 to 70 yards. Okay, we'll do 120 yards. Because
yeah. It's the kind of thing you'd maybe fill like an old bottle up or a can or something with it, and use that and shoot it from a bit away, and it'll give you a nice little bang.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because, I mean, I think the thing is, they always seem to think of the explosion and not the shrapnel. It's like, well, the explosion, yes, can hurt you.
Yeah.
It's the shrapnel that'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, basically.
There's a reason why there's two kinds of grenades, mainly. In military, there's offensive and defensive. Offensive is just a pressure explosive, whereas defensive, they're used when you're in a defensive position because they do shrapnel as well. And you're meant to throw them out from a defensive position so you're protected from the shrapnel.
Yeah,
because I think that's the there's obviously a few different variations of the grenades that the military's use because of that.
Oh, there's tons of them, but yeah, there is a lot of variation in them.
So going back to the guns, we're nearly wrapping up for the day. I'm guessing you've already got plans or looking potentially at other guns, because I know you've got your Lee Enfield.
I will never stop looking at guns.
So you've got your Lee Enfield. What's the name of these? Yes. The 2.2 you've got?
It's called Chris Defiance. It's just a 2.2 AR-15.
And then you've also got your 308, which is, what's it, your Psycho, is it?
It's a Seiko TRG-22, yeah.
On the note of that one, it always makes me laugh, this one, because you were saying how large of a firearm it is. So how large is the firearm?
I'll have to show you at some point. Like, I'm not just saying it's big because I'm small. I'm saying it's a big gun. Because it's not designed to be carried around. It's designed to be big and heavy, so it's a stable shooting platform.
Yeah.
I would say it's a... You know what? I've not done them. I'll do the maths on how... I'll find out how long it is.
Because you're what, 5'6"?
I'm about 5'5", 5'6", yeah.
And I'm sure I remember you saying it was around 4 foot in length, or something crazy like that.
It is...
Because I remember we was talking about this one.
It's just shy of 4 foot.
4 foot. So it is.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's long. It's long enough.
People always don't realize like how long things are, because when you lay something down vertically like this, horizontally, it doesn't ever look as long as when it's vertical, just because of the way our brain reads it.
I mean, just for reference for length, something like an MP5, which is like a fairly standard size submachine gun.
Yeah.
That is only...
It's like 1.5 feet.
Not even that, yeah. It's like... foot and a half, sorry, yeah. But it's like... It's about... Oh, sorry, my Google Foo is weak.
Google Foo.
Barely over 2 foot.
Barely over 2 foot, fair enough.
And bear in mind, this is from the back of the stock to the tip of the barrel. So when it's actually tucked into your shoulder, the gun's only here.
Yeah, it's really
if you do that with the other rifle, it's
unless it's me holding it, in which you might see just the tip of the barrel.
It might just poke past your chin. Yeah, but no, the Seiko is fucking huge.
Yeah, we definitely need to, as soon as we're able to, actually try and do
as soon as they can take you guys shooting. I really want to. Unfortunately, I've got to wait for a guest day.
No, that's understandable. At the end of the day, the way the laws work and stuff, I'm not especially with how difficult it can be to get a license. I'm not going to be that kind of guy that tries to pressure his friend into letting him shoot his gun, you know, when you could lose your
I
fucking
really want
license.
to take you. I know you'd really. I really want to take you shooting with it because it's really fucking fun as well.
Yeah, because I've only ever, I think I've only ever been able to do clay pigeon. I've done airsoft and paintballing as well, but obviously we don't count anything like that. And I know Ryan, I don't know if Ryan's done any shooting of actual firearms. I think it's just always been airsoft for Ryan. So we really do need to get some proper shooting in, because I've always wanted to shoot rifles. I mean, I think
rifles are more fun.
Yeah, me and Becky were on about at some point. We'd love to go to America. And I was saying, look, if we're going to America, I need to go somewhere where I can just put down some fat stacks and shoot a fuck ton of guns.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think there's a
place
like
in Vegas that lets you do it.
There's a place in Vegas where you can literally do like video game packs where they've got like, oh, this is the Counter-Strike pack where you can shoot all of the guns from Counter-Strike and you have 2 magazines per firearm.
Yeah. It's I think I can't remember what it's called. I want to say it's called like Battlezone Vegas or something like that.
I think it is something like that. But I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that, but it's Vegas and it'll be really expensive. I'd prefer to just go somewhere like Florida where the admins and moderators just don't exist.
You want to basically just become Florida Man.
I love how Florida Man's such a meme, and it's just the whole idea of just put Florida Man and then your date and see what comes up on Google, because there's always some funny story.
There's always something, yeah.
It's always something to be like, Florida Man got drunk and wrestled a crocodile. Good going,
That's
Florida
exactly
Man.
what I was thinking as well. I think it usually involves like a crocodile or an alligator or something like that. Yeah,
there's always an animal. There's always something like they got drunk, and then sometimes there's
alcohol or some drug. Yeah, that's standard Florida stuff.
Well, just before we head up, Thomas is saying that he loves the sound of the M1 Garand. Well, you got to shoot an M1 Garand, didn't you?
I did shoot an M1. Unfortunately, it was a neutered UK legal version, so it wasn't semi-automatic anymore. I had to cock it every shot. But yes, that was very fun, and obviously it still got the lovely ping after the last shot.
I remember I saw you post the video, and I watched that video, and you can literally just see your face light up as soon as that ping happens.
Oh, the ping! It's just the shing! Oh, it's there's very few guns that do that.
I did hear as well at the beginning of the video. I don't know what you said. I just heard you say Grand Thumb, and the guy who's filming you went, "Oh, it's a load of bollocks." That.
Yeah, even though it's not, Grand Thumb is, I will say, is a very real thing. I know it is, but I'm wondering if because it's a straight pull one, the way the bolt mechanism worked, it couldn't do it. I'm not sure.
Probably because it's like I said, the UK neutered variant might not be able to do it.
It's probably just the way they've modified the gas system, maybe. I don't know, but because typically in the standard ones, it looks like as soon as you push the clip into the magazine, it disengages the bolt, whereas this one didn't. Like I pushed but I think it might have been because the bolt was already locked open. Yeah, because it looked like it didn't chamber until I actually pulled the bolt a bit further back and then it released. Yeah. So I don't know. I only put 8 rounds through it. I didn't have enough time to really get to know what was going on with it. But
yeah, that's a firearm I'd love to fire one of those.
Surprisingly less recoil than I expected.
What caliber is the M1 Garand?
30-06.
30-06. I remember it's a very American. I always think 30-06 is just one of the most quintessential American rounds.
It is. The Americans do. I mean, we use it over here. It's a good deer hunting round. And calibers like 270 is just 30-06 neck down to a 270 bullet. Yeah. But what the 30-06 means is it's 30 caliber. And then the dash 06 means it was the 1906 variation. So there was, before 30-06, there was 30-03 as well. Yeah. So it basically just means it's 30 caliber
from the 1906.
1906 revision, yeah. Basically.
Because obviously, it's the crazy thing when people, especially when people only play games and don't understand the differences between bullets and stuff. Obviously, just even looking at 9mm, you got 9x19. 9x20, 9mm Russian.
9x18. Yeah, there's so many. You get a lot of people that just think, for example, 7.62. It's like, well, an AK is 7.62, a FAL is 7.62, and a Dragunov is 7.62. But none of those guns shoot the same bullet.
No.
Like all that tells you is the diameter of the bullet being shot.
Because doesn't the Dragunov have like it's a much big? It's the same bullet but bigger chambered for gunpowder, isn't it?
It's the same round that's in the Mosin Nagant, 7.62 by 54 Russian.
Yeah. Because isn't 7.62 by 38, isn't it, for the AK-74?
By 39, yeah.
39, sorry.
That's the AK-47 round, yeah. 74 is 5.45 by 39.
Oh, yes, the 74 was like, they moved it to a more intermediate round, didn't they, rather than the full size.
And then obviously 7.62 NATO, which is pretty much interchangeable with 308, they're more or less the same thing.
Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, I've got one over there, actually. If you give me a sec, I'll go grab it. That's 7.62 by 51. I'll quickly grab that print before we finish, because that's actually a 308, actually. So
yeah, no worries. Thomas, I will be asking the weight of the guns just before we close off as well, because I'm interested as well to find out the weight of some of these rifles myself. Again, it's just interesting stuff.
This is a 308, and it's more or less identical to a 7.62 NATO.
Yeah.
Compare that to a 303. So 303 is actually
just a bit bigger.
I am holding those level on my thumb there, as you can see, but it is a bigger round. So what you'd see from that is there's a lot more powder in the 303, so there's a bit more bang, but they shoot about the same weight bullet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically more or less identical to 7.62 NATO.
Yeah.
In fact, 308. I was going to say, sorry, 308 is actually hot because 5.56 NATO is 223. But 223 isn't as hot as 5.56, so you can shoot 223 out of 5.56, but not 5.56 out of 223.
Yeah,
it's the reverse for 7.62 NATO. You can shoot 7.62 NATO out of a 308, but you can't shoot 308 out of a 7.62 NATO.
Yeah,
which is weird because you'd think the military round would be the hotter one, but it's not.
It's not. I think there's a few military rounds like that though, where they don't want the rounds as hot. One, because of, I think there was a weight revision, but also an accuracy revision as well. From what I remember, sometimes the hotter rounds aren't as accurate.
It depends on how heavy the bullet is, what gun it's being shot out of. There's a lot of variables in it.
Yeah. Well, before we close, there's just one more question as well, because actually Thomas just raised this one that I was interested in myself. What's the weight? Like, how heavy do, like, some of these, like, go with just, like, a handful. So go with the M1 Garand, how heavy would you say that one felt? And, like, your Psycho, your sniper, and, say, your Lee Enfield.
So the M1 was probably in the 3 to 4 kilo range, probably about the same weight as a Lee Enfield. So you can hold it in your hands and just shoot it freestanding, but it does get tiring. It's much more comfortable to shoot from a rested position.
Yeah.
The Seiko is like 5 or 6 kilos. Like, that is not comfortable. You wouldn't shoot that gun from standing at all. You'd shoot that from a bipod or something like that. My Chris is quite light, actually. That I would say that's probably maybe only 2 to 3 kilos. It's a lot lighter.
AR-15s are usually on the lighter side as well, aren't they? So
exactly, yeah, because they're an all alloy body. So yeah, they are generally quite. I'm not filing my nails, by the way.
Are the barrels of them like alloys? Can they be alloys as well, or are they usually?
They'll
steel?
Typically be steel. Yeah. Steel, yeah, because it's heavy and it's strong. At the end of the day, it's a lot of the time they'll be like lined with a different thing. Like for example, I think my Seiko has obviously a forged steel barrel. I think it might be forged. I'm not sure. But it's very thick steel, but then the inside is chromoly steel.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 grades of steel basically in the barrel. But obviously, depending on the round compared to how heavy the gun is, a light gun with a big round has a lot of recoil, and that's why the Lee Enfield has so much recoil, because it's a big old round and it's a relatively light gun. And also, it's not got a rubber butt plate or anything. It's just wood and then a brass plate. So
wood, a brass plate, and I bet it's like being punched in the shoulder.
It is, honestly. Like, after about 50 rounds, your shoulder's yellow.
Yeah. Because I remember you were saying you was looking at getting like a padded, like...
I've got one.
Yeah.
I don't care how much of a pussy that makes me. Like, I would rather be able to shoot more.
I think the thing is, it's different for different people though. Like, I've got a feeling if I was shooting your Lee Enfield, it probably wouldn't affect me as much as it would you. But that's
I don't know. You'll be surprised.
It would still probably bruise me. It would still most likely give bruising, and I'd feel
I'm
it
bony
definitely.
as well.
But I'm a much meatier person than you, so
it bruises my it pinches my collarbone sometimes, and it pinches like the bone, and it can also like pinch your ligaments around here. You'd probably be a bit better. But like the force is there for sure.
Oh yeah, it would still, like I was saying, it'd still definitely get me. But I think because I'm a larger, meatier person, I've got a feeling it wouldn't. I probably might not need like that pad that you've got, and that's just.
I don't use the pad that much. I only use it if I'm planning to shoot a lot of rounds in a day.
Yeah.
If I'm only going to do like 50 rounds, which is like one box of 303, which is quite expensive. I usually won't bother. I'll just man up and deal with it.
I'm just going to call Thomas out and tell him to shut the fuck up because he's saying meat equals fat, right? Just shut the fuck up, Thomas.
Oof.
Just a big oof right there.
That's rude.
Well, we're going to close off for the day because we're running over anyway, but it's genuinely been really good. I've got a feeling people have enjoyed hearing about this because there's a lot of there's a lot of misconceptions, especially with UK firearms laws, and being able to ask questions with someone who actually fucking has a license is always kind of helpful.
Knows what's going on, yeah.
But yeah, so
sure.
What we'll do, if you want to see any more from me, and good job camera for going all blurry out of nowhere, but yeah, if you want to see any more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at KTOasis, and I will be streaming here from Wednesday on. We're starting Uncharted 3 on Wednesday. Where do you want people to go to find you?
I can be found on, I'm just trying to think of the platforms. If you're interested in shooting, I'm going to plug a community I'm in here. There's the UK shooting Discord, and we also have a subreddit, so I think it's just r/UK shooting.
What I'll do, give me the link to that Discord, and
I'll get you an invite link. Yeah,
I'll put it into the description of this episode when it goes live.
It's if you're interested in shooting in the UK, if you want to get into it and you just don't really know, like anyone is allowed in the server as long as you're interested. The only entry thing is you be interested in shooting. You don't have to know a thing. You don't have to own any guns. Nothing. Everyone's welcome. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram at Captain Cracked Shooting Shack. I won't bother putting my personal on because I don't want people bothering me. That's restricted for certain people.
That's an understandable reason.
Yes, basically. Not putting out there.
Ryan, do you want to plug anything? Good talk. Good talk.
He really knows how to cut to the core.
Oh, exactly.
He just really knows what to say. Well,
apart from that, if you've got any memes, shit posts, or anything like that you want to send to the Context Needed podcast, you can send us that at Context Needed 1 on Twitter. And if you want to get in touch with us in a more formal way, you will need to contact us via email, in which we'll give you an address. From there, you'll need to have a typewriter letter. It needs to be a full essay of at least 4,000 words with a one-page abstract. A cigar must be smoked at the same time as you writing this because we want that aroma, we want the vibe.
Yeah, we want what's going on.
Wax sealed, and a bird of prey has to deliver it. But to get the address, you email us and we'll tell you where you need to get that bird of prey to deliver it. But apart from that, from me, Kyle, and from Ollie, who isn't Ryan, it is Ollie.
It was still me.
We'd like to say thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
Goodbye. See, there's no Ryan saying such stupid.